We're going to call the meeting to order of the May 5th meeting. You can stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands for the nation of God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining us tonight. Just so we know, our meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Limerick Township YouTube page, youtube.com/@Limerick Township 1726. We met in executive session on personnel and legal matters. And at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Dan Kerr for an update.
So there have been a lot of questions as to why we moved the meetings back here to the township building and for the data center meetings coming up, and also why we have the heightened security here now. These security protocols, the limited seating, everything that we post online are going to be in place for the foreseeable future, because I'm going to paraphrase the threats that have been posted online that we've been monitoring. I hope the next Molotov catches these crooks in the face. This appears to be implied to the township, where it's threatened and harassed like they deserve. This is geared towards the politicians. It's almost as if violence is the answer. They should be scared as hell of the residents that put them in their seats. We will need to destroy these data centers with some kind of militia. In reply to that, this country wasn't built on keeping the peace. It was built on burning ships and slicing throat. This is regarding politicians paid for scumbags that should face the gallows. Violence sends a message and gets the point across. Politicians pushing the data center need violently removed from office. I wonder what their response will be if the township building burns to the ground. Need a few good electricians and some good fuel delivery drivers, LOL, to cut wires and put an additive to the diesel fuel. So we received all these. We've been monitoring them, and we had the police look at them. I'm going to ask the chief or Bob or Pat, I'm sorry, if you could talk about the threat assessment that you went through. And I will tell you, based on what they're going to talk about, I will state that this was not a board decision to move this back here. The administration and the police gave them no option. We told them we were moving it back here. So if you guys could talk. Bob, or do you want? Too.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. As Dan said, police department with our public safety department did a risk assessment based on the information that we were receiving and that we were seeing on online. And out of an abundance of caution, we decided that it'd be better safe than sorry. So we upped our police presence. We also decided that it would be best to move these meetings back here, because one of the glaring things that we noticed when we were at the high school was that there were still some school district personnel on location, as well as some students. Based on that, we decided we did not want to unnecessarily put them in harm's way if something should happen. So that's why we decided to move it back here. Again, some of the commentary, harsh and violent as it may be, we cannot just sit back and just assume that nothing would come from the comments. So we decided to ramp up our security the best we can. We're going to continue being vigilant forward at these meetings, and it's for the safety of everybody involved, not only the board, but our residents, you guys, and everybody involved in this process. So if you see, you're probably going to see some more officers next meeting with regards to the data centers in particular. But that's why we ended up coming back to the township building.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you for that update. To receive important township updates and alerts on your smart device, click Notify Me on the township website for further instructions. Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube page. Our upcoming data center public hearing meeting time and location are Monday, May 11th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Township Building. We do anticipate that we'll be concluding the meeting at 9:30, just as we would have before. We have office closure and observance of Memorial Day for the Township Building and the Public Works Department on Monday, May 25th. For more information on our Park and Rec, our specialty camp information is available on the website and on social media. We have a Red Cross babysitter clinic, May 17th at 10 a.m. from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Big Apple Music will be May 21st at the Veterans Pavilion, right here at the Township Building. And then the Atlantic City bus trip, June 2nd, and then Golden Oldies and Elvis, July 25th at 7 p.m. at the Limerick Community Park. Be sure to follow along with the Park and Rec Department. They do things for all ages for the community all year round. Do we have consideration of the meeting minutes from 4/14/2026?
Motion approved. Minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any board comments? Any resident comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're going to do public comments on agenda items as we go through the meeting. And for supervisor comments, do we have any supervisor comments? Start with? Okay. Just want to acknowledge that everyone's here and those in the room and following online. And we know that there is a strong interest in the work that we're doing here. But I do ask that we work in an orderly, fair, and consistent way, and that we respect each other, because at the end of the day, we are all neighbors. So, thank you. Our bills list, number 9, 411 through 51, in the amount of $363,425.61.
So moved.
Second.
Any board comment?
I have a question. On page 43, there's a payment made for $23,410 that was done on 4/22. Is this the final payment for the Limerick Community sign?
Yes, so that's the final payment to Physico for the Limerick Community Park new sign.
Thank you.
Do I have any resident comment? No? All right. I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. We have our monthly reports for March from the Treasurers, Emergency Services, Code Services, Public Works, Police Department, and Park and Recreation. A motion to accept the monthly reports for March 2026.
Motion to accept the report.
I'm sorry, what was that, Pat?
Motion to accept the report.
Thank you. Second. I have a first and a second. Do I have any board comment? Resident comment? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes. And for our old business, we have the conditional use, which is always run by our solicitor, Ms. Kaiser.
Thank you. So following the closing of the last hearing, which was on April the 7th, I prepared an opinion and order which has been reviewed. If the board is so inclined, you would make a motion, Ms. Lawson, and it would be a motion to approve subject to the conditions that I will outline.
You want to give those conditions?
Sure.
Or it's up to you.
I can certainly read the conditions. The first condition is that the applicant shall comply with all of the notes, testimony, and exhibits offered at the conditional use hearing on April the 7th of 2026. Second condition is that the applicant shall show compliance with the current township lighting, landscaping, and buffering standards and requirements for the property on the land development plan to the satisfaction of the township engineer. Outdoor use of the field shall be limited from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. No alcohol is permitted on the property. That in all other respects, the applicant shall comply with all provisions of the statutes, laws, regulations, rules, codes, and ordinances of the United States, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Limerick Township, and any other municipal entity having jurisdiction over this matter. The sixth condition is that the applicant shall perform a speed study for traffic on Linfield Trap Road. Seventh is the applicant shall comply with review letters from PPD and Pannoni engineers. Number 8 is outdoor maintenance, including mowing on the property, shall not occur between the hours of 9 p.m. and dawn. Number 9 is a maximum of 2 games per day is permitted outside on the pitch. Number 10, the property shall be served with water and shall not be well unless otherwise authorized by DEP. 11, there shall be no application of fertilizer, pesticides, or herbicides within 50 feet of the stream. Number 12, stormwater filtration strips shall be installed and maintained in biosweeps and rain gardens. 13, outdoor lights only shine in the parking lot. Lights shall not interfere or spill onto neighboring properties. And finally, number 14, the applicant shall, prior to preliminary land development approval, submit an event management plan. Are the conditions acceptable?
Yes, I just wanted to make one clarification.
Sure.
In terms of the testimony that was offered, I believe at the hearing, there was reference to the secondary parking lot, the 68 parking spaces. The applicant is still committed to closing that off unless absolutely needed. The one clarification I just want to make and make sure we're all on the same page. There has been some preliminary discussion with the church across the street that has asked if we would be interested in opening that up to them on an occasional basis so that they can use it for their overflow parking when it's not in use by my client. I don't know if that's actually going to transpire, but would the board be open to allowing some sort of shared parking agreement with the church that is across the street for their use?
Right. We'll defer that to land development.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So do we have a motion to approve the conditional use number 26-01 ParkMet LLC, 361 West Linfield Track Road?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any board comments? Seeing none, any resident comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
So we have our subdivision and land development section. We have a confirmed appointment. Is Ray Clark here? Hi. Can you come up to the table here? Just make sure you speak close to the microphone so we can hear you, and the people on YouTube are also able to hear you as well.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you hear me okay?
I can, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to come in and talk to you tonight. And thank you for your service and all you do, especially in light of what's going on. But 15 years ago, we had this great idea. Solar was just blooming, wind energy was going crazy. And we had this great idea that we would put solar panels on my house, worked out great, put it on the business, worked out really good. And we thought, well, why don't we explore the opportunity of putting a solar farm up at 34 acres down on Sailor Road. I live there with my wife, and my 2 daughters, each have a 2-acre plot on the land. And we thought we'd explore the opportunity of putting a solar farm in there, 3-megawatt solar farm. And I still can't believe that was 15 years ago, but time flies when you're having fun. But for a lot of reasons, most of them financial, it just wasn't feasible to move forward with it at that time. I mean, that was a $13 million project at the time. Solar renewable energy credits, SRECs, were selling for $300 a piece. Our governor at the time made some kind of a move, and the price for those things dropped from $300 down to $15, and it just wasn't financially viable. So we let the whole thing fall. Recently, I'm here with Bob Kears, who's our solar contractor, and Susan Rice, who's our engineer. But the idea got resurrected again. We decided to take a look at it. It certainly makes sense on paper, but I thought I'd like to get before the board and just run it by you and make sure that you're amenable to at least exploring the opportunity and going through it again. So this is what it looks like. I mean, that's the entire 34 acres. You still need. And somewhere on here, I know there's a lake.
Good answer.
Oh, there it is. It is the lake. There you go. So this is my home, and this is one daughter and daughter number two. Actually, reverse, daughter number one, daughter number two. If you go in chronological order. So there's about 20 some acres down here that are dormant, just been sitting there now for forever. This was an old farmland when I bought the property. It's covered with cedar trees that are just falling down all over the place. Every time the wind picks up, you get 10 more cedar trees that are blown down. So it's a bit of a disaster down in there right now. And we looked at exploring the opportunity of putting a 3 megawatt solar farm in. And this is a rough idea of what the layout would be. Access would be off Township Line Road, and I forget the name of that development down there. What's that? Okay, thank you. So access would be off a new entrance coming off Township Line Road, and these would be the inverters. They probably are not going to be in the same position on the new layout. But, it's just the same layout. There's a bit of a runoff stream that runs over here, and it really is just what would we call that, Susan? It's a drainage channel, yeah. When it rains, it gets water in it. Most of the time it's dry. And we've gone through all kinds of facility studies with PJM, all the electric utilities, everything else. Everybody is in favor of doing it. It's feasible. It's a good opportunity. The farm would feed directly into the grid with PJM. I'm just going to breeze through this stuff real quickly. But PJM did a whole study on it and finally gave it approval 15 years ago. So again, this is just the connections that they would need to make coming off the farm out on the Township Line Road. It's the approval letter from PJM that, you know, if we build this thing, we can connect into the internet, or we can connect into the grid directly across on Township Line Road. And then they did their own impact study. What impact would a solar farm like that have on the grid, if any? And they went through the whole thing. Again, it was all approved by them 15 years ago. This was the stormwater management and erosion control study that we had to technically do. And again, that was all submitted and approved. It was a pretty extensive study that they did. And again, this is all just paperwork. You know, all the studies were approved by DEP. This is all way above my pay grade. Cal, you would understand some of this stuff. So again, this is just section 2 of the same thing. Again, it was submitted to the county and approved again. I think this is just a duplicate. Oops. The money was exchanged too. I forgot about it. So we come quite a long way in the whole plan. We dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's. We were ready to rock and roll right when the rear end fell out of the SREC market. We kind of abandoned it at that point in time. But some of the questions that we had was on, and I'm trying to think. Tim, is that PowerPoint presentation here? I'm sorry? I get that for you. Wait. I didn't mean to run through all those. There we go. So this is just a PowerPoint presentation that I put together again 15 years ago, laying out the plan. That's the site itself. So there would be a fence all the way around the solar farm itself. There's a 10-foot buffer from the fence to the solar panels, and it would be hidden from view by the fence and by existing trees and new trees that would be planted. And again, just some more layouts. And this is what the typical panels would look like. You know, I'm sure you've all seen a solar panel, but these things would be laid out on special support brackets in rows. That's typically configuration. They're all screwed into the ground. The panels are secured firmly on top of those. And there was some issue about permeability, whether or not these created an impermeable surface. And of course, any rainwater that falls on the panels goes directly down to the ground and gets absorbed into the ground. So there's no issue with water absorption. We did quite a study on that, but that's just some layout of typical layout panels. That's just a quick explanation of impervious cover or impervious surfaces. I think we all agreed at the time that these were not impervious surfaces. And again, the panels are elevated off the ground. They don't sit on the ground itself. So there's a gap of, what we just say, 2 feet under the panels. Yeah. And any road bed we put in again would be permeable. So we don't have any issue with that. And these are some of the calculations we did just to prove out the permeability of the whole plan. But I just, this is all stuff. There was a question come up about trees and how many trees would be removed in order to construct this solar farm. As I mentioned earlier on, the property is covered in cedar trees. Cedar trees have basically no root system, as I discovered to my peril. And when I bought this property, it's 30 years ago, I had no idea that I'd have anything like the issue we have with these cedar trees. But that's typical walking through the property. That's what the trees look like. They're just blowing down all over the place. So essentially, we're going to be clearing all those dead trees. They're just blowing down all over the place. I mean, look, if you go into my property anytime after a big windstorm like we had a couple of weeks ago, every time the wind blows, I lose 10 more trees on the property. So there'd be no real impact as far as the trees themselves go. And that's really it. I mean, the purpose tonight would be just to come before the board and try to resurrect this thing if the board is amenable to it. If there's an interest there to moving forward with it, we'd like permission from the board to speak to the township and review some of the engineering facts and see if it's feasible to move this thing forward. So really, it's just a question: is the board amenable to something like that, the development of a solar farm on those 25 acres? Are there any objections or any stumbling blocks that I should be looking at?
I have a question. I'm not sure if you're able to answer it at the moment, but will this be a fenced in? And is that going to be a barbed wire fence or it's just regular fencing?
No, I don't think so. It's just regular fencing. I mean, when we looked at it before, it was an 8-foot fence that surrounded the whole thing. And the idea was to have that fence behind a tree line, an existing tree line, and plant more trees to hide the fence. Mm-hmm. The objective would be to hide the panels from view.
That was my next question: is what type of buffering and screening is for you? Yeah.
So we try to keep as many of the good trees as we possibly can, and then supplement those with new growth.
Do you know the approximate lifespan of a project like this?
It's a great question. I just replaced the panels on my home after 16 years, not because they were bad, but we're looking at least 25 years.
Yeah, their warranty for 25 years. Their lifespan.
Yeah, so what happens over time? They lose production, and that's what happened with my home. My home panels were put in 16 years ago, so I probably lost about 12-13% production on those. I happened to be getting my roof done, a whole other issue, and I had to remove the panels. And I talked to Bob. I said, "Well, what are we looking at to just put new panels up there?" So we decided to put new panels up and just get back on track. So.
Board have any other
I have a
questions?
couple.
Please.
How high are the panels?
The panels on the racks are gonna be,
So in the front, they're usually about 2 feet. Just basically the overall height.
yeah, about 2 feet
Oh,
tall.
yeah, go to the right as well.
So,
We want people at home to be able to hear you as well.
okay, they're on racking system, so in the front of the panel, they're tilted south. So that's about 2 feet off the ground, and then the back, maybe about 6.5 feet, 7 feet. There's usually two in an array, that go up in that. So they're tilted at an angle, actually just like that. Yeah, there you go.
Does the angle change throughout the day
No,
as the
no,
sun
these
moves?
are fixed panels, so they don't move, don't make
Okay.
noise.
Who pays for the infrastructure for that you produce to go back into the network? Because I know when I put them on, I'd take them off because I had I was making too much.
Too much. Yeah, this would be a net metering installation through Pico.
So are you guys paying for that or is Pico paying for that?
No, Mr. Clark.
Okay.
You're not paying it?
I have a question as far as when technology changes. So say the lifespan is 25 to 30 years, as you said, Mr. Clark. And as technology changes, and so hypothetically it gets too expensive to upgrade it to what the technology is at the end of the lifespan, do we have an abandoned farm of metal out there? What is the end result? What is the removal process? Can you talk to that?
It's a good question. So they're guaranteed for 25 years. The life expectancy is 40 to 50 years. The technology, I can speak personally with my recent roof panels. The reason that I changed out my roof panels was I'd lost some efficiency in the existing panels, and I decided to upgrade the newer panels, which actually almost doubled my efficiency for the same square footage, almost doubled my output from the solar panels. The old panels would have lasted forever. I mean, there's no degradation to them. There's actually a secondary market for solar panels that can be used. But to answer your question, 50 years down the road, what happens to them? It's a great question. Well, I think the answer, and when this was approved 15 years ago, it was essentially a shovel-ready project. There was a verbiage in the conditional use that if the project was not running for, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but say 60 days or 180 days. And that's the benefit of using screws in this project. So you can disassemble everything. The property goes back to a property with nothing on it. It's not like foundations are getting put in and you're going to have like a demolition project. It would be disassembled and could be disassembled anytime.
But ultimately, say it's abandoned, who's responsible?
The verbiage that I remember from 15 years ago was Mr. Clark has responsibility for that as owner.
So because of things that have changed, we can't take what happened 15 years ago and just, kind of put it off today. So everything would be fresh. You have new board members, you have new ordinances, you have new zoning hearing board concerns. So there's a lot of concerns I have with this for a variety of reasons. I would suggest that my opinion is you go get a fresh conversation with staff and find out where everything sits today. Kind of, I don't want to say disregard what happened 15 years ago, but you keep referencing 15 years ago like you're going to pick it up and just run with it today.
No.
So I don't want the public to think that it's just a gimme because 15 years ago you were told something. I was here 15 years ago, and I through it again today would say, go have a fresh conversation.
No, our expectation is we're starting from scratch. Yeah, I just brought 15 years up because I can't believe it's been 15 years since we. Time flies when you're having fun.
In my research, waste management is an issue with solar farms. How do you plan to dispose of waste for for different panels as you're replacing them. Do you have like a process in place or an idea of what that process would look like? Is it going to be recycled? Is it going to be resold?
Everything in the panels can be recycled. It can all be, there's nothing hazardous in there. So it can all be recycled.
But also there's a secondary market for that. There's a lot of these secondary used panels are being sent to third world countries that are actually using them to generate another 20, 30 years. So rarely do you see the recycling process. You know, they're being reused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other board questions?
Just one more. The intent of this generation from PJM, is that to like use it amongst here? Because 15 years ago, there's a whole bunch more housing around here now than when this was first presented. They could probably use that here. Did they discuss then where they were going to direct that power at?
Once it gets into the grid, PJM decides for it. Once it's in the grid. Now there's other options we have.
Yeah, the process that was looked at 15 years ago was a PJM interconnection. So they would be tying in right to the grid, and the PJM could do whatever they want with the power. Here, we're looking at potentially getting an off-taker, possibly a township, a school district, you know, someone that can use the power, set their rates at a fixed rate, and have, you know, a fixed rate for, you know, 25, 30 years.
So like basically rent them from you?
Not rent them. They're called power purchase agreements. So
Okay.
yeah, like a lot of school districts back then, there was a big initiative back then, and there is now too. And that's one of the reasons Mr. Clark brought this up. A lot of school districts benefited from that process back then, fixed their rates for 20, 25 years. So today, when we're all paying these 20, 30% hikes, you know, they're fixed. So it's a fixed cost for any off-taker. I mean, it could be like you said, a development. It could be you know, anyone who uses power.
Well, that was my concern, is that this power that's produced stays in Pennsylvania. As everybody is familiar, the PJM is able to send power west or north or wherever they need to send it.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big, you know, thing back in the day where they were talking about that power getting shipped, and you know, I don't know the ins and outs of how they did that, but if this was a direct off-taker with the net metering process that's in place through PJM, it would directly benefit, you know, hopefully a local school district that, you know, again, they could benefit their children for 20, 25 years.
Okay, then is there a calculation for infrastructure to connect that to them, or are you just going to put it into the system and it just goes over?
Yeah, I mean,
Because I'm not sure how updated that is. Because I had the same issue at my house. When I had the panels, we were making too much, so the network wasn't available to take excess at the time.
well, they govern that, so you're not supposed to produce more than 120% of what you're using. So if we have an off-taker that produced township or an off-taker that uses more than 3 megawatts, we would be able to give them all the power. If a school district has 9 megawatts, we can only give them 3. They would only benefit from that.
So they're able to move that into the regular distribution system for the area.
Exactly.
Instead of just the PJM.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, while we're not taking a formal board action this evening, do we have any residents who have any questions for them? Take the microphone, please.
Is it on? Martha Bell, Limerick resident. Just a question about the heat generation of the panels, and the heat island effect, or whatever you call it, of having that many solar panels in one place that are on the ground and not on the rooftop. And also just a a suggestion, if the smart kids at the tech center could figure out how to hook into you, that would be a good project for them.
Thank you for your comment. All right. So I have Kara suggesting that you go and visit staff.
Mhm.
We have a recommendation from anyone else?
So there's a lot going on with zoning and our comp plan coming up. Is there some way, and we've had lots of zoning changes for 15 years. Can we do some sort of impact review?
Yeah, if the board's agreeable to have them come to staff, we would enter into a professional service agreement where they would basically pay for our consultants' time, Cal and his team to work with Greta and our zoning. That's where we would start. We would just get an overall zoning impact of this project, and then we'd come back to the board and we can all discuss the implications of that and get an overall understanding of impervious and all that stuff. So that would be the first step if the board's willing to have them come in.
Is that the direction we're headed? Them going back to staff for a zoning impact review?
I think we should put that in part of it. But I'm okay with them talking to staff.
I'm okay with you talking to staff.
So it sounds like you're going to staff, but then coming back to the board for further discussion, correct?
Yep.
Yeah,
That'll work.
okay. Perfect. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on, we have the extension of lot number 7 Industrial Parkway 26-03 extended indefinitely. We have a motion to accept the development time review.
So
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Any resident comment? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, and moving on for new business, I'm going to turn this over to our solicitor, Ms. Geiser.
Yes, so I'm sure as many people have heard or read, there is a second application for a conditional use for a data center. And like we did in this current pending conditional use hearing, the township did appoint a conflict counsel. And that is because as solicitor, I run the hearing. I'm sitting with the Board of Supervisors. I'm guiding the hearing. I'm not asking questions of witnesses. I'm not cross-examining. Appointing the conflict counsel would allow the conflict counsel to handle that. So it's our recommendation that Wendy McKenna, who is the conflict counsel for the pending conditional use application, be appointed for the new application.
Thank you for that. We have a motion to appoint Wendy McKenna as administration solicitor for the Limerick Town Center LLC project CU 26-03 per the engagement letter dated December 18th, 2025.
So moved.
second.
Any board comment? Any resident comment? Can you please take the microphone? Can you step a little closer so we can
Yeah.
read
Can you hear me now?
everyone hears you? And your name again? Sorry.
Stephanie Schlegel, Limerick resident. And so I just wanted to make sure I understood then. It sounds like Wendy McKenna, she is going to serve as the main point as the solicitor for the conflict of interest panel for that. And so she has, in that case then, not been involved with representing or her firm or any associates that she's had in the last 7 years with any of the applicants, their associates, their contractors, or anybody else involved with the submittals. Is that correct? That we're aware of? Just to make sure.
I don't know if we have that information.
Okay, I just had those questions because obviously whoever's going to be, serving with the conflict of interest team, we want it to be in the best interest of impartiality, and that's.
I could say even prior to my time, Brandt and Associates, her law firm, served as conflict counsel. They practice municipal law. So that is their forte, their specialty, and she was Limerick's conflict counsel for other matters historically.
Okay, and that sounds good then. I just wanted to double check and make sure that would be the case. And then in regards to any additional information for her, let's see here, the other question I had. And overall, then the governing body, you'll retain the full responsibility for findings of fact and conclusions, independent of counsel at the end of the day as well.
That's correct, typically. And again, I can't speak for the board, and we're certainly not there yet procedurally. But for a complex matter like this, we would ask all parties to submit proposed findings of conclusions of facts and of law. But ultimately, it would be this Board of Supervisors, and I would draft it with their review.
Perfect. Thank you.
I saw another hand.
Hello, Josh Mangle, Limerick resident in Linfield. And my question for the board is, with all the vitriol and animosity that's being generated with the current process, I just would ask the board to kindly consider rejecting it from the beginning until this one is resolved. That way we don't heighten any more animosity, because I don't think it's going to get any better between you guys and your residents. The vitriol is just way too much. And this one is directly across the street from our house. And I have concerns with the way things are going with the current one, that it's not completely safe to move forward. Just as a public resident that's directly affected by this, can we just wait on moving on anything on that new request?
So unfortunately, on the legal end, you'll hear about the MPC, the Pennsylvania Municipalities Code, and that governs when the municipality, the township in this case, has to hold a hearing and has to have it go forward. Otherwise, we risk something called deemed approval. And deemed approval is a solicitor's worst nightmare. It is that the applicant receives approval without, because the township didn't schedule it in a timely manner. So really the applicant controls when it's scheduled. Ideally, you would not have two conditional use hearings of this nature running at the same time. But again, we have to abide by the code. So they may sign a waiver and say, we don't want to have the hearing right now. And it would not start right away. But again, that is outside the control of this Board of Supervisors.
Okay, I'm just bringing that
Understood. Understood. I just want to make sure that everybody understands they're working under time constraints. And that's the law that puts the time constraints on it.
Okay.
Thank you. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then I'm going to turn this over to our Chief Financial, Glenn, down there for the purchase of some needed software.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion for approval of purchasing a scenario software that goes with our ERP system that provides the ability to seamlessly work to forecast different scenarios of projects we want to do, things like that throughout the year. And we can instantaneously tell how it affects our financial situation. We're also looking turn time for a grant that will cover at least half the cost. So pretty confident we'll get that.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the contract with Scenario not to exceed $12,000 annually, and to authorize the township manager to sign any necessary documentation to complete the contract?
So moved.
Do I have any board comment? Do I have any?
This makes the budget season move a little easier.
It should. But we have a lot to do this year, but yeah, it should.
And do we have any resident comment? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hello, Glenn.
Hello, I can take the next one as well.
Yes.
So in the budget that we went through in the fall of last year, the code department requested a ability to have residents, when they're able to, submit their permits and plans online. So we approved that. We have the hardware right now with a computer screen and software that takes the plan in. The code department can review the plan, send it back electronically, avoid all the paper that could be going back and forth. This is this piece that goes with our ERP system that allows the residents to go onto this portal and submit the permit application and the plans for review. So this was budgeted as part of the project and it was approved as part of the project in the fall budgeting season. So we're just looking for the motion to approve to move ahead.
We have a motion to approve the contract with Caselli to add these services for the startup costs not to exceed $2,500 and to authorize the township manager to sign any necessary documentation to complete the contract.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any board comment?
I would just want to clarify, this means that our residents will be able to go online versus coming in and picking up paper.
Yes, whenever they're able to do that, they can, but it will not preclude anyone that does not have that ability from coming in, submitting here. We will scan, do everything that we need to do to use the system.
Do we have any resident comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I'm going to turn it over to Dan for an award bid for PWD project number 26-01.
And this is for the cold milling and wearing course. This is part of our summer road program, the Public Works. We put this out to bid annually, and the bids came in. The low bidder is the H&K Group in the amount of $597,305.90, which is a recommendation from Bill Bradford, our Public Works Director. I will note that in conjunction with what the projects the Public Works will be paving in-house, that we are estimating that this line item for the paving for this year will be $45,000 below budget.
Great, thank you. We have a motion to award the bid to the H&K Group in the amount of $597,305.90 for project number 26-2 cold milling and wearing course.
So moved.
Second.
Any board comment?
Just want to thank our Public Works Department for working diligently. $45,000 below budget is, in this volatile age of petroleum, pretty impressive. So I appreciate that. So thank you.
And that is part of their ability to do a lot of work in-house with how we've structured that department for many years. So it's good. Thank you. I'll pass it on.
And do we have any resident comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Leaving it with Dan for the DWD project number 26-02.
Yeah, this is the bituminous surface treatment, which is like oil and chip and the other sealant processes that we use on other roads. And this is part of a maintenance program. This bid, the bidder's low bid recommendation from Bill Bradford is to award the bid to Asphalt Maintenance Solutions, LLC, in the amount of $202,381.79, which is, he says, right on budget. I'm not sure if it's a little bit higher, a little bit low, but it was so close that we're in good shape.
Great, thank you. Do we have a motion to award the bid to Asphalt Maintenance Solutions, LLC?
Second.
Board comment? Seeing none. Do I have any resident comment? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We will be posting the roads on our website. I think that's already on there, but we'll make sure they're on there, which ones are getting treated when. So just look for updates as they move through that through the summer.
Great, thank you.
When you do that, can you do me a favor and look at when PennDOT or county are going to be working on our roads in our township too, and post them it's not necessarily, any of the projects under our purview, but just let them know that those roads may also be worked on in that timeframe.
We can do that.
And then National Safe Boating Week, and I'm gonna turn this over to Pat.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Mr. Maroney.
all right, we're gonna talk about National Safe Boating Week. Look what I have to do. Hope I get it on. As you know, or as you may know, but may not know, I serve the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary in encouraging vessel safety. I'm demonstrating that you should wear this when you're on your boat. We have any boaters, kayakers here? Okay. Are you kayakers wear your vest? Wear a helmet, all that stuff? Taking a paddle class, we encourage that. Now, I'm also an instructor in vessel examiner, so just trying to demonstrate that if I can wear this, I actually have worn it to work, or wear your vest to work day, just to prove to people that it's not inconvenient. I always tell people, if you don't have it on, try putting yourself in a swimming pool with a life jacket, try to put it on. It's almost impossible. So I'll read some of the stats here. Usually like 74% of people that drown because they're not wearing life jackets, not because they're not strong swimmers, they just get tired or need to get the hypothermia. So just encouraging that. I'm going to read our proclamation. Now, this is in support of the National Safe Boating Week, May 16th through 22nd, 2026. Whereas the United States Coast Guard Office of the Auxiliary in Boating Safety has a national recreational boating safety program, and whereas more than 70 million Americans participate in recreational boating, which has significant economic impacts and is an important part of American heritage and culture. And whereas the Board of Supervisors encourages local residents to become more informed in regard to boating safety, and whereas the Board of Supervisors hereby promotes National Safe Boating Week during the week of May 16th through May 22nd, resolved and acted by the Board of Supervisors of Limerick Township this day of May 2026. Okay, thank the board for setting that up. I just want to encourage people to, if you have a boat, get your vessel examined, take a boating course or paddle course, and be safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maroney. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2026-10, promoting the week of May 16th through the 22nd, 2026 as National Safe Boating Week?
So moved.
Second.
Any board comment? Any resident comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And tricentennial update.
So our internal tricentennial committee met on Monday, and so here's just a couple quick updates to the September 26th event that is coming quickly. So we again thank the Waltz family for allowing the township to use the Turtle Creek facility for the fireworks show. So I just want to report that the Waltz family, we have been talking about the event's going to start at 3 p.m. and fireworks will be like 7:30 or 8 because it's going to get dark earlier in September than it does in July 4th. So somewhere around there, they're going to be shooting the fireworks. So we were talking to them about incentives to get people there early. We were talking about, hey, maybe the township can offer, we would obviously, look to pay the Waltz family for like free mini golf from 3 to 4, anybody comes in. And the Waltz family stepped up and is offering that to the township. So I just want to say thank you to them. They have been wonderful. Another great partnership that we've been able to bring together is the Hares Hill Brewing. They are making a 300th Limerick IPA beer. There we go. Yes. So we have our little logo down there. So they're going to be selling this all throughout the year. And all the proceeds from the sale of that particular beer are coming back in support of the tricentennial. I think Kara, they're gonna be at the carnival, fire company carnival next week, so that's when they're gonna first open it up. So go to the carnival. If you're a beer lover, that's where they're gonna start, and they're gonna be having it in other events throughout the year. And again, all proceeds are coming back to the tricentennial event. So we're very excited about that. So they're a great organization to be working with as well. So other than that, planning is coming together. We're finishing the layout, all that. So everything's coming together. Budget's on, and everything's looking good. So we're going to be coming up on 100 days out. So you're going to be seeing 100 days from now. We're really going to ramp up the social media. And we still have, hey, shirts, hats, sweatshirts, Limerick 300. Stop upstairs, and we got plenty of apparel if you want to buy it and support your 300th celebration of this community. So
You can see some of the swag in the glass case right outside if you wanted to take a look at it.
Great, thank you for the update. Thank you to the Waltz family and the Harris Hill group. Very exciting. And then our manager's report.
yeah, just one item is, if you haven't seen it, PennDOT, back to PennDOT projects. It will be closing Linfield Road Monday, the 11th, to replace that culvert at Ferndale. So they have until November 27th to complete the project. So the closure is noted for that. They told me they hope to have it done sooner, but that is the duration of the project. Detours are going to be posted come Monday. All our emergency services have all been prepared. Ambulances, fire, they all know what they got to do. School district busing has been notified. There's been questions about voting at Linfield Fire Station. So this is not impacting the voting. That'll still be a voting destination, whatever, a polling place, sorry. So you just have to follow the detour, but getting in and out of the fire, there's no impact. You can still move in and out of there as you normally would for those who will vote.
Yeah, and there's a question I got from a few residents. They wanted to know if Ferndale was actually going to be open or part of the closure right at Linfield and
Ferndale will be.
So if you're coming from the fire station down Linfield Trap up towards Rothman, and you would hit Ferndale on your left, is it going to be open that way?
I don't think it is. I think that they got to open that area, but I will check that.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that.
Yeah, it was not easily seen on the map or on the detour map, so wasn't sure and got a couple correct.
We'll look at that.
questions.
We'll get that messaging out. That's all.
Great, thank you very much. Okay. Now we're going to move into public comment. I just want to clarify that any comments related to the active conditional use applications cannot be considered by the board outside of the formal hearing process. While we respect everyone's input, these comments can't be part of the official record, and the board will not be responding to them during the meeting.
Again, no stenographer, so it can't be part of the record, so.
Tim Norwood, Limerick resident. So based on what the chief said earlier.
You can move that, so yeah, so you can, yeah, there you go.
There we go. So based on what the chief was talking about earlier tonight, my comments are going to be in hopes of lowering the temperature in this community. Regardless of what party you're associated with, we can all agree that violence and threats against members of the community and their families is unacceptable and needs to stop. We need to also remember that these board members serve on a voluntary basis. The people that serve on this board do so because they believe in our community and want to see it thrive. I agree with a lot of the residents that the current situation the township is facing is concerning and stressful. However, the current township ordinances and laws were put in place long before some of these board members took office in January. I'm confident that the Board of Supervisors are trying to navigate through the existing township ordinances and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to figure out what the township's options are. Furthermore, it's my belief that the township solicitor and the board will review our current township ordinances and will update them as needed so the board will have better oversight moving forward on proposed projects in our community. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. We all want the best for Limerick, a safe, thriving, friendly, and accepting community. So let's work together to achieve that.
Thank you for your comment.
Good evening. Ali Sasek, Limerick resident. Just some clarifying questions about what's allowed inside the next meeting, unless they're going to be sending out more information of what people are allowed to bring into this room.
Ms. Stasek, you have party status, so you will be receiving an email from me directed with instructions for party status. We understand many of you have an attorney, some of you don't, but there's different items that you may need to have than the general.
Right, I guess that the party status was exempt, but for anyone else, like they're allowed to bring in a laptop or?
I defer then to our police and.
Yeah. There'll be nothing else allowed in, just the person.
The person, not like a clipboard or a laptop, tablet?
We're gonna make a game day decision on some of that stuff, but bags and things like that, no bags, everything is on what has been posted, so. But.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So my name's Steve Bird. I got granted party status at the last, whatever meeting that was. I'm not someone that comes to these things. And the last one was the first one I've ever been to. This is now the second. I have a colorful past of my youth. So as I have no idea what the format looks like, how the thing goes, who talks, how long you get to talk. So I've been trying to conceptualize in my head, how am I going to approach this thing? Now, part of it, I can appreciate a good quality product. An image at the right time can prove a point. So there was a couple things like almost props that I wanted to help show who I am. Now, I wanted to speak to the chief or whoever to get approval on all the props. Because a lot of it's like, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but one of them is about my family. We rooted back into Pennsylvania pretty short before the Revolutionary War. One of my answers, I believe, is actually pretty integral with the founding or development of the state. So it's like, I wanted to bring some props that tied in with that. My grandfathers have fought in the World War II. I have a helmet as a souvenir. That part of that, my plan was to drop on the ground. The things I cared about would stay on the table, but certain things about history in my family. So on that, that's why I was late. It sounded like nothing could come in, a couple shirts. I've been going through someone with a colored past. You try to come to grips with things and develop, heal old wounds, become a better man. And through all that, I was kind of working through something, developing my backyard. This thing comes up, I get agitated, which is why I show up, because I'm a old broken soul that's trying to heal. And it's like, I'm right there. I'm setting up my little Zen garden in the back.
Mr. Bird, that's time.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Can I speak with the chief? Maybe you had a chance to bring everything in, but you see advance. That you'll probably tell me. No, I have. I'm not just saying. With everything going on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there are going to be some regulations. I think that it's a very good idea. Sorry to put the chief on the spot, for you to talk to somebody in the police department prior to bringing any props. I'm not the expert in public safety, and I certainly will not try to. Thank you, Mr. Bird.
Martha Bell, Limerick resident. I think two things. Just a comment that I wish the township had put forward, whatever it's called, to get a curative amendment for an 18-month break, so we wouldn't be facing the second proposal. And also, if we exceed this meeting space here next Monday, where are the people going to be able to be present and physically here watching the meeting?
So the seating that you see in this room is what will be here for the data center meeting on Monday. There will be seats reserved for those who have achieved party status. We know the count, those seats will be reserved. The rest will be first come, first serve. The training room in the back will be set up as a viewing room. I believe somewhere around 50 seats will be back there. That will be the extent of who will be allowed in the building. There will be no standing room. There will be no standing room in the lobby. And so those numbers we're going to firm up, but generally what you see here plus somewhere around 50 in the back room.
Any other public comment? Okay.
Hi again, Stephanie Schlegel, the RIC president. So with that being the case, obviously, we don't know how many people are gonna come to the meeting next week. There's not always a lot of people who come to these. For anyone who is here and there are not seats available, the understanding is then they will not be able to be coming into the building, even if they're residents, to make any public comment.
So it's very unlikely that public comment will occur for the conditional use hearing at this stage. You've heard there's 28 party status people. We're looking at many hearings, so there will not be public comment until the hearing has concluded and all parties have rested. And we will address the procedure for public comment closer in time to when that's actually on the horizon.
Awesome. And then for the party status, I know you said there was around 28 currently. When I looked at the party status application, it looks like they can continue to submit for party status, or has that been closed?
That is incorrect. The MPC requires a timely entry of appearance, and there are two potential parties that the board deferred until Monday night, so the board will procedurally rule on those. But again, the MPC requires a timely entry of appearance, and that was closed at this last meeting.
Okay, and so then the current submittal or the current party status application that's on the Limerick website that has up until the time of is incorrect then, correct? Because that's what it states.
Sure, I was not aware that it was still up there, but if it is up there, it may be for a different conditional use hearing. I can tell you that the timely entry of appearance was at the last hearing.
Okay, understandable. It's unfortunate then. Yeah, I mean, that would be, I guess, the recommendation would be to make sure that the current party status application that's online then has the correct verbiage if it doesn't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any supervisor? Oh, sorry.
Quick question. I came in a few
Can you
minutes.
lower, yeah. I don't know if you need your name.
Sure. Terry Arthur, Limerick, Linfield resident. I came in a few minutes late and the chief was already talking. Was it disclosed exactly what threats or how the threats came about? Did I miss that at the very, very beginning of this meeting?
It was the opening conversation at the beginning.
Okay, so I'll need to go back and look at the minutes and see exactly what that
You
was.
can go to YouTube. This is live streaming on YouTube and it will be on YouTube. When you go to the Limerick Township YouTube page, there's some videos on the front, but go to the tab that I think it said live. But they're all.
I've been able to go back and look. So I'll go back and look.
Yeah.
I do want to just make one comment. You know, residents are getting threats per se as well. I've received anonymous letters. I have party status.
half mile. I've spoken up. I've been much like the gentleman. I never came to these things until I started seeing developments that pop up overnight. So I decided like maybe I better be in tune. And here I am. And I believe, I'm not going to put words into anybody's mouth, but I believe that some of you guys have gotten some weird letters too. Anonymous, cowardly. I have to stand up and give my name. I have to give my address. All of my information is public record, but somebody can send me an anonymous letter and basically tell me it's a waste of time. And quote unquote, this will be the mountain or no, the hill I'll choose to die on. So there you go. I'm glad you moved it to here and took away all those threats.
Have you filed them with the police department?
I have not.
I would suggest that you do.
There's no return address.
I think it's important that there's a file and that it's started and that it's documented, and I apologize that it happened. And
Hopefully you don't know who did.
no, I do not.
I know several other people who got pro status.
I would. I'm gonna defer to the officers here, but
I would recommend making a report.
do we have any supervisor comments?
Okay. Some good cheering news is that the fire department has their annual carnival next week, which is always fun. So if you go on their website, they do the pre-sale bands and everything. They have the beer garden, they have the live music. So there's some fun stuff in the township actually that we can enjoy. So that's next week, starting Tuesday through Saturday, I believe. And then my second comment would be, Dan, as we approach that 100-day mark where you said you were going to ramp up the social media for the tricentennial, as I watch the news or any commercial soundbite, we have many people saying happy birthday America for America. I think it'd be really cool for our residents to be able to take that little soundbite and say, happy birthday to the township or whatever they would like to say in tribute to that, and kind of put them out there and sprinkle them out there too. I would love to see the residents kind of get involved with our social media, with ramping up, and if it's before 100 days, it's before 100 days, but I think that would be really fun and inclusive.
Okay, good.
Do we have any other board comments?
I have one. And Madam Solicitors, feel free to stop me if I'm not supposed to say this, but I just want to say we're
I'll be
receiving.
back, so you two can make comments.
Well, we're receiving a lot of comments that because we moved it inside, that we're preventing people from speaking. Please keep in mind that this is a hearing. You're not allowed to speak. It's not because we're stopping you, because that's part of the process. You will be offered at the time of the end of the hearing. Now, this hearing could go for months. When they say the hearing, it's not the end of that night. You will have your opportunity to speak within the 2 minutes when this is all finished. So just want to put it out there that we weren't doing this to take people's rights away. It's at this point, you'll be offered the opportunity to speak. And unfortunately, we have limited space, but we do have other ways that you can observe the meeting. So, and then I just wanted to also point out, just look at some of the state laws where it applies to developments and what townships are allowed to do. Be familiar with that.
I wouldn't go too much into the,
Okay.
yes,
Thank you. That's all I have. I just wanted to say we're just not denying anybody. You just have to be patient. It's the process.
Perfect. Any other supervisor comment?
I do. I just want to address you, Terry. I'm sorry that you got that letter. Like all the other residents who may have received a similar letter, I care about your safety. I care about my community as well. So I just want you to know that the amount of what I can say, I do care about my residents and
and it does matter to me, and your safety is a priority for us too.
All right, and on that note, I'm gonna take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion adjourned meeting.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Maybe. That's true.